What's going on, y'all? Welcome back. Welcome back. It's your boy Malcolm Miller. I was watching Friday Night Lights for the first time. I know y'all killed me. This is the first time I'm ever watching Friday Night Lights. It's about a football team in Odessa, Texas, and their struggles to rise to prominence and still be a successful football team that everybody in the town wants them to be. And I was watching the movie, and there's a kid named Boobie Miles in the movie. He's played by Derek Luke, who I think is a tremendously underrated actor. And his whole life revolves around just football, being a star athlete, being the man. And I wanted to talk about how a lot of, especially black kids, in the inner city, from poverty-stricken backgrounds, a lot of them have this identity crisis. Their self-identity is attached to playing a sport, and solely a sport. They're known as Boobie, the football player, or Malcolm, the hooper. That's it. Outside of their sport, they don't have their own personal identity. So with everything that they're doing, whenever sports is not going their way, they fall into depression. They fall into just the wrong activities. When sports is not going the wrong way, they turn to the wrong things. And I think that's a big problem, especially, within the black community and poverty-stricken communities everywhere. A lot of kids, their hopes and dreams are all tied up into this one thing in sports. And we all know it's highly unlikely that a lot of kids in the hood is going to go pro in sports. I love sports. I love playing ball. And I knew I wasn't good enough to go to play professionally at that level. But I always, fortunately enough for me, I had parents and I had teachers that instilled in me that I was very smart. I could articulate myself well. I had other passions. I had passions for doing what I'm doing now, speaking in front of on a platform like YouTube. I had different passions like this, communication. I loved it. I love writing, journalism, things like that. But a lot of the kids, they don't have that. All they taught is, look, we poor. The only way to get out the hood is to be good at playing basketball, to be good at playing this sport. Because if not, ain't nothing else we gonna do. There's nothing else that you got that can take us farther than take us outside of our poverty, or out from our poverty, I should say. But yeah, and the kid was just so distraught. He cried like a baby, when he got hurt. And I see it so much, man. I see so many kids tie their hopes and dreams up into being a rapper, being an athlete, that when it doesn't pan out, the whole world just ends. And I'm hoping that one day soon that we can have a lot more programs in the inner cities for kids to have other things to attach themselves to have other hopes and dreams. One day being a doctor, one day being being a graphic designer, being a news reporter, being a journalist. Something like that kids can develop. I hope we have more institutions or facilities where kids can develop other passions and recognize these passions outside of just playing a sport and being an athlete, man. I had a very close friend of mine, when he grew up playing basketball all his life. And when he decided to stop because he didn't have the passion for the game anymore, he had been playing since a little bitty baby. Like, that's all his life was dedicated around. His father pushed him to be an excellent athlete like his father was. When he decided he didn't want to play anymore, he was confident in his decision, but he was worried about the backlash of what other people are going to think. All I've been known is, this person, the hooper. That's all I've been known as, is the hooper. When I stop hooping, are people still going to love me? Are they still going to be endearing to me? Are they still going to look at me the same way when I decided to stop playing ball? Are they going to say, boy, that boy's stupid? That boy had a chance to go somewhere and he stopped playing. And he's like, man, it wasn't for me anymore. I want to be, I want to work in law enforcement. I want to be a detective. I want to deal with criminal justice system and help reform the criminal justice system. I don't want to be a hooper no more. And I saluted him. But we have a lot of kids that when they separate themselves from their sport, they just go downhill, man. I'm hoping that a lot of kids can find another passion and excel in something else and have another way to get out the hood.